What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here with a brand new review of She-Hulk. This is season 1, episode 2. The episode is titled Superhuman Law. Now, I do want to apologize. This video is late. I meant to watch it on Thursday, and I meant to watch it Friday. Then I meant to watch it Saturday, and I've just been really busy the last few days, so I haven't really gotten around to watching it. But I watched it this morning, and here we are with the review for She-Hulk. So before we go ahead and just get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other on my channel and are not subscribed, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and also share the video. And with that, you guys, without further ado, let's talk about She-Hulk, shall we? So this is the aftermath of Jen knocking the hell out of Titania and at the end of last week's episode. So we see all the news stations, they're reporting about what happened at the courthouse, right? So they got an eyewitness who was talking about her as well. So now Jen is in a predicament, right? Because everyone knows who she is, right? So it's, you see on one end, Jen and her paralegal, whose name I forgot from last week's episode, they went to the bar and everyone was chanting She-Hulk, She-Hulk, She-Hulk. So they go inside the bar, and when they get inside the bar, once again, everybody's there, cheering her on, giving her the praises, the flowers, and everything, right? But then Dennis came up, and when Dennis came up, Dennis was like, oh, you just did that. Basically, Dennis felt like she was doing that to make herself look so much more better than probably what she was. And I'm like, wow, Dennis, you're a hater, right? So then her boss comes over there, right? So remember, she was in court, preparing for her case, right? So her boss comes over and tells her, hey, so because you went all She-Hulk in the courtroom and beat Titania's ass, yeah, we lost that case. And she's like, wait a minute, we lost the case? Like, what are you talking about? Well, the reason that they lost the case is because the opposing counsel feels like with Jennifer saving those people that she saved, they feel like the jury would then be biased towards her. So the jury would vote whatever, they would vote in her favor. I was like, wow, so you really think that just because somebody saves, okay, well, you know what? I guess you would feel so quote unquote obligated to, quote unquote obligated, but you're a jury member, so you take an oath to uphold the law. But okay, I mean, I can see that, saying it out loud. So unfortunately, Jennifer has gotten fired. I was like, oh damn. So because Jennifer got fired, I mean, just because she's She-Hulk and she saved people's lives, she done lost a damn job. I was like, that's janky as hell. So what I want to do here is pause and move forward. So we see Jennifer. So Jennifer is going out and she's doing, different interviews, right? She's doing interview here, interview there, interview. Everyone that she's doing an interview with is saying no because they feel like she's a liability. I was like, wow. So this woman is a hero and y'all think she's a liability. I didn't understand it, but okay. I mean, if that's how people feel, that is how they feel, right? So we see her, she's at home, and again, let me figure out what her, I gotta remember what her name is. Nikki. So yeah, Jen and Nikki, they're at her apartment, right? So Jen is telling Nikki that unfortunately she has not been able to find a job. But Nikki is being a good friend to Jen, uplifting her, telling her, girl, it's going to be okay. So then Jennifer got a text message from her family saying if they wanted to have a family dinner. She's like, oh, God, and I haven't told them that I've gotten fired yet. So we see Jennifer. Jennifer went over to her mom and dad's house. All of her family is there, right? So her dad was like, yeah, we told the family that she did tell her family that she got fired. Her dad was like, yeah, so we told the family that you got fired, right? But we told them not to mention anything. So Jen walks to the kitchen, to the kitchen, the eating table, right? The dinner table. One of her cousins said, oh, you got fired, Jen. Her dad was like, I told you guys not to say anything. He was like, oh, I thought you said to mention it. Why would I say mention it? So she's telling them that, she can't find a job, right? So everyone in her family has a question about her being a superhero, right? Her mom was like, she found this guy that works at a store. He wants to be a superhero. So she gave him Jennifer's number. And Jennifer's like, Mom, you got to stop giving strangers my phone number. So then her dad was asking about Hawkeye when he does his bow and arrows. Where do they go? I was like, oh my God. So then her uncle, his girlfriend is a cosmetologist. So she's like, yeah, we got to do something about your hair. We got to make your hair look more like She-Hulk's. And also Jennifer doesn't really like the name She-Hulk. She can't stand that name. I was like, wow. Very interesting. So then we see her and her dad. So they went down to the basement and her dad was asking her for a favor. They are going to milk the fact that she is a Hulk. They're going to milk the fact that she's a Hulk. And I'm like, wow, this is terrible. This is terrible, 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 terrible. We see Jen, right? So after she left there, we see her, she's at a bar. And then we find out that Jennifer has another job. Now, I was listening to it because I remember earlier in the episode when her boss was her old boss that fired her for being a She-Hulk, when I was listening to it, I'm like, that sounds like the opposing counsel that she's going to work for, right? It sounded like, that's what it sounded like to me. It sounded like the opposing counsel. So she told the bartender, hey, got a job. So let's pause here and let's wrap up the episode. All right, you guys. So I think I am correct. You guys can correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. But I'm thinking that Jennifer got a job with the opposing counsel. So Jennifer is going to be defending people who have superhuman powers. So she's meeting up with her first client, right? Now, if she doesn't want to defend people who, have superhuman strength, she won't have a job, basically. So her first client is going to be Emil. And she's like, but he fought with he attacked me, him and my cousin, they fought each other. So she has a dilemma ahead of her, like, do I defend this man or do I go with my loyalty toward my family member, Bruce, right? So we see her, she calls Bruce. She's telling Bruce, like, hey, Bruce, so yeah, I got fired, but then I got another job, and the client that I'm defending is going to be Emil. So he's like, you're not really just asking me, is it okay? She's like, yeah, I'm not really asking you. I'm just telling you that I'm going to take the job. Are you okay with it or not? He says, Emil wrote me a nice letter recently and I'm good. You guys remember in the first episode that Bruce, when she became She-Hulk, it was because of that spacecraft that flew in front of them, right? Bruce is in this spacecraft flying. God knows where Bruce is flying, because she asked Bruce, when is he coming to LA? He says it's not going to be anytime soon because he's on a mission, right? So after that, we see Jennifer. So Jennifer called up the boss and told the boss, hey, so talk to my cousin. My cousin doesn't have an issue with me defending Emil, so guess what? I'm going to take the job. And her boss was like, you must haven't watched the news, have you? She's like, what do you mean? He was like, go turn on the news and, we'll talk later. So she goes and turns on the news, right? And when she turned the news on, you see that Emil has escaped from prison and he's getting into a fight. He's doing like underground fighting, right? And they are talking about there hasn't been any word from his attorney. And I'm like, damn, Jen just can't catch a break at any point, right? Jen is not catching any breaks. First episode, at the end of it, she knocked the shit out of Titania. And then this episode starts up, she's lost her job. Now, with this episode, she loses her job and she gets another job, and come to find out her client has escaped from prison. Poor Jennifer. Poor Jen. But that's really all that I got, you guys, for this episode. I want you guys to, if I did leave anything out, we can discuss it in the comment section below. You guys, please subscribe to the channel. Please turn on your post notifications. Also, share the video. And until the next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, wear a mask, socially distance, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So I will see you guys, I know for sure I will see you guys again for episode 26 of Dawn Brothers, and I will try to be early next week with She-Hulk review. So until then, you guys,